So one of the things that I want to mention is because everybody, I've known a lot of this and I have witnesses now. But what I was doing is I was looking through the old days because, as I told many of you, and many of you know this, I spent the entire 80s, I mean, the entire 80s, working on trusts and learning, knowing when things were still available. I have documents that have since been taken off the internet. And I have, you know, thank gosh, I wasn't into saving everything on computers because how many computers have I gone through since then? So I printed everything. And just recently, um, I found the documents in a box. I found everything. And I found the stack. Oh, my writings, everything, channelings from Yeshua. And I will say this, and this is not to insult anybody, so take it for what it's worth. I just want you to see where things happen. And I read to Sam and Heather. So I had read them some of the stuff that I did in the 80s. It much talks about everything that's going on. I wrote everything. It was all written. And oh my gosh, my penmanship was, and as I'm reading it, it's everything that's happening now. It's where I learned a lot of stuff. It's where I got a lot of stuff. And the information that was given is much like what we're speaking of, but how do I put this? Was so much more intense that from the 80s to now, mankind got dumbed down that much more. Because, and that's not knocking anybody. I'm not saying that about any individual. I'm saying as a society in general. I couldn't believe the difference because even what I get today is a little bit lower than what was in the 80s as far as how it's presented. It's presented more simple now when it was more intense back then. And I was like, wow, we've come, things have come a long way. But all this information I'm talking about that I will be releasing, which I've just got, what was it, 2-3 weeks ago, I got told, the dispensation was given, that I could release a lot of this. So like 80% of what you hear is still not truth. The QFS is not truth, what you're hearing about it. Not quite. And how we got in bondage is not truth. So let me just throw this one thing at you. Does everybody know we're in bondage, right? We're slaves, we're in bondage, right? Most people know that. Let me put it this way, don't say yes. Is there anybody who doesn't know? Awesome. I'd rather see that than 6,000 yeses going by. So, but I ask yourself this question. What is bondage? It's in the Bible all about this too. It's the bond age. We were all bonded. It's right in front of you. You didn't even get it. That's what bondage means. It's the bond age. And we've been bonded, just like our government officials are bonded for us. Bonded, no, nothing like a Band-Aid. A bond is something that is, look at it this way. When you go out on bail, what do they go? You go to a bail's bondsman. Bond bailsman or bail's bondman? Bail's bondman. You just shut that down. You go to a bail's bondsman. So everything is bonded. Now, even your soul. And I'm not going to go into all that because we're going to be doing a series. And I don't know if it's going to happen with Charlie. If not, I'll just do it on our own. But we're going to do a series where everything started from. And I'm going to put all this together and do the whole 9 yards so you can see the real truth of what happened and it'll blow your doors off. And you all know Sam from our community. Sam, was your doors blown off? Actually, he was, I think, more in shock, like, about all this. And it's how the canon law put it together. It's everything. And your soul has been bonded. We're very much the movie The Matrix. We're very much in that mode right now. And I mean, would it even freak you out if I told you 80% of the peeps on this earth plane are projections only? So because they're a projection of the soul that's been kept in bondage. And that's what this is all about. You didn't hear. I said, would you be surprised to hear that 80% of the people that are walking around on this earth plane is in projection only? You're going to have to come back to see exactly what that means. And Amy, you're a host of panelists only. So, oh no, they have a soul. It's just kept somewhere. They're plugged in. They're artificially interfaced. Oh, but keep playing with artificial interface. Oh, wait, it's artificial intelligence. And this has been, and there's a whole way that it works with the court and everything else. Not the court of, it's not really a court, it's a council of the High Council. And they had a petition and all this other stuff. And we're going to go into all that, how that actually happens and what actually happened to this plane. And that this plane, I mean, I was reading an old thing in the 80s where Gabriel was actually talking about how he was on board to annihilate this plane. And it was the one, Emmanuel, the one we call Yeshua, which that's not even true. Half of that's not even the truth of what happened. I call him Yeshua, but the real name is Emmanuel Sue. That's where Jesus came from. But we can call him Yeshua. I use that's why when you hear me in the beginning of the meditations, we call to Jesus, Yeshua, Yahweh, Emmanuel, because it doesn't matter what you call him. The intent is there. It's the Christ light. And so all the truth about that is, you have to, there's a whole big thing going on and how it involves all this other good stuff. So I just want you to know that don't rely, and you're still relying on people. Don't rely on anyone for anything but yourself. Rely on and activate that soul with you. And you have to become one with the creation, and the creation is that of this earth plane, and we're not. You don't have to. This is for people who choose to. If you choose to ascend, you have to become one with the creation. And going against it is keeping you from who you are. Okay, I'm not going to go into a lot of this because that's what we're going to be touching on when I do the whole series. We're putting it together as a nice series so that we can start from ground zero and go back and go back and back and back. I mean, go forward from the back where it started. And I can go back with proof and documents as far as the 1400s. And I have the documents because I was smart enough back in the day to print everything. So really exciting. And you have a choice. You really do have a choice. And what I tell people when they start, and not before they start, when I tell people we're going to do this live, not to, there's so many people out there telling people, I apologize when I push it too much. There's so many people out there telling everybody, don't pay your mortgage, don't do this. And we've discussed this, but I'll do it again because we have some newbies. Welcome, welcome, all you newbies. There's so many people out there, don't pay your mortgage, it's illegal. Don't do this, it's illegal. Don't do this, it's illegal. And yes, that's true. But there's a lot of innocent people being held in prison. And until you know what you're doing, shut your face, as the old Italians used to say, shut your face. Because if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to get yourself in more issues. And what you must know is that your soul is being held in bondage. And if you keep messing with things that you're not right about yet, before you do it, you must, the number one thing that people must do is get their authority back under the divine creator, which was given to you through this. And this is number one. And this is, it's not a war. I'm sick and tired of hearing, oh, we're at war. No, you cannot be at war with something that can't touch you. What this is, we're living a huge fraud. It's not a war. It's a fraud and a lie. Nothing more. They don't have power over you unless you give it to them. But in order to get your power back, you must stand in divine righteousness. And I'm going to tell you something else, which I wasn't going to release today, but I'll give you another little thing. Everybody talks about integrity. I even do that too, but because that's what everybody knows. So I can't speak at stuff until you get to that level, because it would just frighten people off, and they're like, what the heck are you talking about? So we go in steps till we get there, which is the progressive way of remembering. When you come out of the womb, you're not running a 26-mile marathon. You're slowly walking. First you're crawling, then you're walking, then you get there. Or you're not hiking 249 miles through the Sierra Mountains. So you have to get to the point building. You start at a foundation and you build up and up and up and up. And it's like, then everything starts to make sense. And right now you got some information here, some information here, some information here. And you think you have the whole concept, but you really aren't there yet. And that's why we can't get out of the system. So when people say, well, you have to stand in integrity, I'm going to tell you this. Does anybody know what a TEG is? I know Sam is, because I made him look it up. You're not in integrity. Never be in integrity. That's another lie. Did you know that? Or you thought integrity was being honest and upright, right? A TEG is a 2-year-old sheep. You're in sheephood. So you don't want to be integrity. You want to stand in divine righteousness. It's just another way to keep you from your divinity. I'll throw you one more, and keep this to yourself if you don't mind, so you can get it out. But I'll throw you one more, okay? They created the language English for a reason, and that's why it became the world language. And I'll tell you what that means at a later point. But you're going to find out, and you're going to go. You'll have that Home Alone look. So this stuff hasn't been, nobody's coming out with it. And it's really good stuff. And now is the time where we come down and we come out and we look at it and look at it. And we're going to move out, move out, move out, move out. And then once you claim your authority back, but you can't just say, I'm divine righteousness and it works and you're allowed to. No, because you're not living it. You're not living it. If you were living divine righteousness, you would be a different individual. You are not living divine righteousness. You have truly not chosen it. You're coming back to the place of it, but you haven't chose it yet. You say you are, but you don't have that 100% belief. And I'll show you why. And then we'll go through how to remove all that stuff. Because you must be in authority. If you're not in authority, you're still at war. You're at a war because you're believing the projection through the holographic image of what this place is of what's happening. How many of you remember the old days with slides and the 8mm? Remember the no talkies when you were a kid? You younger ones remember this. So you took a whole movie and you put it on the big machine and everybody sat and watched it. There you are waving, 8mm. Yep, that's it. Michelle, you're toast and panelists only. So they were 8mm slides and everything. So they're projecting. It's a projector. Shakespeare was trying to tell you this also. The whole world's a stage and we are just merely actors. You're on a play. It's projecting a play. And at any time, you can petition and change that projection. But mankind, do you know? Do you know that it's the dark side goes to the council all the time and petitions it? And nobody stands up for mankind because nobody's going there because we're all too stupid? I used to go a lot and fight petitions and go against things. But when I tell you, like the karmic board, when they meet, so it's more than that. I didn't get into all of that, but you make your petition twice a year. Where do you think that comes from? You're petitioning the council. That's what all this is about. And if you think it's not real, you're crazy. This is so the demonic world. And I can tell you, the light that be was going to shut this place down more than once. And the last saving grace was Yeshua, Emmanuel. And you have to ask yourself this too, which I've never gone into this, but I'll go into it a little bit now. Why does everybody call him Jesus? His name was never Jesus. What does the Bible say? And you shall call him what? Anybody? Emmanuel. So why would you think the Divine Mother would call him Jesus? Why would you think that for a minute when it says to call him Emmanuel? Just asking. But it was Emmanuel Esu, ESU, and that's where they got Jesus from. So anyway, there's a lot of stuff coming out, and we do have the documents to show it, so it'll be fun. Esu, Emmanuel Yeshua, Emmanuel Jesus, but his name is Emmanuel. The disciples did not always call him Jesus, they called him Emmanuel. You can start remembering this knowledge whenever you choose to connect. If you really seek and ask for the knowledge of divinity in absolute, true, it will really make a difference. I was told, I got this told, time is now. I said, okay. And we've been hearing that for those of you that come on Tuesdays. And what we've been doing on Tuesdays, you've been hearing loud and clear, the time is now. So I'm really excited about this. I'm like, I got to keep doing this, right? I got to keep the staple gun out and go and staple my mouth shut because I just want to do it all now. So everything that you need to do for you is you all have to stop worrying about what's going. You got to start focusing on you. Because let me put it this way. Oh wow, I'm worrying about this, I'm worrying about that. Let's just pick the border. All right, let's pick in the United States the border thing. And for everybody in every other country, it's whatever you want to pick. Okay, I'm just going to use the border issue. So we got a border issue, and I'm focusing on the border issue. I'm focusing on the border issue. And I'm focusing on the border issue. And I'm gonna fight, and I'm gonna let everybody know about this border issue and everything else. Okay, now the time comes, and the split happens, and the shift happens. Are you going to be ready, or did you spend all your time on the border issue? How much would you be wishing if it happened tomorrow? Okay, if it happened tomorrow, how much would you be wishing, damn, I should have paid more attention. I should have focused on me. And all this chatter is not doing you a blessed thing. Get out the duct tape. And some of you may need more than duct tape. You may need staple guns. Okay? And start seeking divine wisdom and knowledge. Ask and you shall receive. Knock and the door will be opened. Because this isn't a joke. This is really happening. It's happened before on this plane. We lost 5 rays. We're down to 7. If it happens again, how many more? And will the divine even keep this plane going? I don't know. But if you knew how privileged you were to be here, you would not waste your life watching stupidity. I guarantee you. So take the time. Seriously. Take the quietness, the stillness. Go in and search for your Christ light. There's nothing more important. And I'm coming from my heart. Look in my eyes. If you would have told me 5 years ago that I would have been a Bible bumper, as we used to call them, I would have told you you're nuts. In a million years, I would have never thought of this. I looked at it differently for different reasons. So, right there, 2015, my first Bible, given to me by Mikey. And that's when it started. That's 10 years ago. Wow, time is just flying by, isn't it? But that's when I first got it and I first started reading it. And it's not a coinky dinky that I spent my 80s figuring out how the rest did it. I have another dear friend who found herself, in a situation where she was maybe not the most healthiest situation, but it got her around to being near very wealthy people. And she was like, they don't do the same as the regular people did. And she also knows what I'm talking about. And she tried to find out how they did it, which was the same as me. I was very fortunate. I came in with a lot of knowing. It put me in places that average kids don't get to go. And it was around people like, how are they all doing this? I was an immigrant and an orphan's kid. And the depression they were raised. My mom grew up with no mother or father. My father came from Italy. Didn't speak a word of English. So how does all that happen? It's divinely placed. And I'm telling you, you can find it all out if you go inside, and you really need to. So back in, what was it, the 2015, when I told me to read the Bible, if I would have read it ahead of time, I wouldn't have gotten it. All I knew about the Bible was that this disgusting Roman Catholic Church that I was forced to go to all the time used to read and talk about this. And then I had to go to catechism. Oh, even that word's like catacomb. Oh, bleh, bleh. I had to go to catechisms, give my Saturdays up to go sit and listen to a bunch of old fart nuns and priests tell me their interpretation of this, which was, you're going to be damned to hell. That's all they talked about. And you all know I made the Blessed Mother cry constantly. I crossed my legs, you made the Blessed Mother cry. You whistle, you make her cry. Oh my God. So all of that was so against who I was, and I hated it, that in my pea brain, as I got older, this was the Roman Catholic Church. And it wasn't. And I never touched it. Never. Never, ever, ever. I still to this day have not read it cover to cover. I'm not an individual who can memorize, well, this chapter, this book, the book of Psalms, book of John, section 3, chapter 2. I'm not one of those, and I will never be one of those, and I have no intention of doing that. I just listen and told where to go, when to go, and what to do. And that's, to me, easier. It's just how I work. There are plenty of people out there who can go, oh, that's Psalm 6:15. I'm like, wow, it's not me. But if I would have read it sooner, I wouldn't have comprehended that it's a trust. And I wouldn't have comprehended everything, because I did all that in the 80s. And I found out in the 80s. And I'll tell you something else. The banksters, the head of the banks, are the ones that hold your soul. It's in a trust. We'll get into that later. But that's why the banking system has to come down. So we will be doing that. That's coming true. That's going to be coming very soon. We're just getting everything in order. But I'm so excited. I have to duct tape my mouth. I'm too excited about it. I've been holding on to this stuff since the 80s. And I was told, shut your mouth, shut your face, you shut your face, speaker, speaker to no one. And then I just got from, the knowing this is divine. Now's the time. Like, really? Michelle says, can you give an explanation about scalar waves and the potential problem with scalar without mentioning specific systems so that it could be posted in reference? Sure, Michelle, not a problem. Scalar waves, first of all, I'm going to put this out there this way, and you can do with it what you want. I don't knock anybody. I don't judge anybody, but I judge the outcomes and the acts. So if somebody's doing something, if somebody's robbing a bank, I'm not judging the individual. Maybe they're doing it because they don't have, their baby is starving and they need money to feed them. I don't judge them. but I know that stealing from others is not a good act, and I don't want to be around people who steal. But before you do anything with any technology, I would advise you to check on the individual. And if they're claiming to have all these degrees, check to see if they even have them. Number one, check to see if they're lying. If they're lying, run for the hills. That's number one. Number two, any system that doesn't work from internal, meaning as far as you're not doing it, is taking you away from the power of who you are, external. Now, there are situations when you find yourself, you've misqualified so much energy, so much, that you now have a dis-ease in the system. And you need to take care of it ASAP, because you're not standing in your full authority or your full power of the Christ light to allow yourself to heal yourself. So you go to an external. And you get an external thing, but then you look at, why was I like this? If you choose. Now, all this is if your choice, if you want to be a master. And you look at, okay, why did this happen to me? And what do I need to do, change, or become so that doesn't happen to me again? So you just don't go hopping into things because, oh, it sounds cool. That is the stupidest thing I have ever heard in my life. And I'm going to be straightforward with you. Oh, I'm going to run this because this sounds so cool and I can look younger. Okay. And you don't look into it. That's when my grandmother, my old Italian grandmother, I would love to have her come next to you and cuff you backside of the head and go, Fana, what's the matter for you? You know, how stupid can you be? You don't jump into a car and take off driving if you've never even driven a car before or even tried it. That's stupid. You're going to hurt yourself and others. So don't do things without researching them just because somebody says it's a good idea. And then research the background of that individual. If they're claiming they've got this degree and that degree and this degree, and you find out they don't have any science degrees, but they happen to have a fluff degree in basic liberal arts, well, maybe I should not be listening to this. Okay? So now you asked about, and that's with any technology. I don't care if it's Ubani, Hubabi, I don't care. Find out. Everybody is so willing. Oh, and I'm going to ask Sam to validate this. Sam, did I not show you that I had, it's not 8,000, it's 5,000. It's 5,781, I believe. I put the 8 before it. So I have to correct that. There's 5,781. Was that the number, Sam? I showed him the document. Yep. New technologies that are being squashed. 5,781. I have the patents for them. I don't personally hold the patents, but I have the actual patents. I've researched it. I've done all that. It's about this thick. So tell me, why are only med beds being talked about? Because the med beds are the ones that mess with your DNA, your divine natural attributes. I'm not saying they're bad or good. I'm not making any judgment for anybody. I'm just bringing questions to you, and if you want, you say she's a nut. If you don't want, maybe I should find an answer for that. Why are they not talking about the other 5,780 suppressed technologies? Because the other 5,780 don't mess with your DNA. Only the med beds do. So, question with that. Secondly, with that, are we going to start trusting doctors or military or people who are controlling these? Do you have any clue how they work? Why? Because somebody said so? Do you have the documentation on it? Do you have the schematics? Do you even know how to read a schematic? And even if it's all good, where it projects the holographic image and it grows into the cells so that the cells can repair, even if that's true, is the individual working the machine, is it programmed to actually do that? Because I used to program PLCs, programmable logic controllers, to automate factories and stuff, and I could make them do whatever I wanted and say, oh yeah, I could do it this, and put a little subcode in there, a subloop that would do something else. Just saying. How many times do you go online and you fill out a document thinking, oh, it's something good, when they're actually stealing your data? Just saying. So, you've got to think about these things. And before you do anything at all, delve into it. Delve into it. And that's the importance. It's not even an importance anymore. It's a necessity to survive, to claim your divine righteousness. If you aren't to the point where you can hear this is good for you or not good for you, run away, or run to it, run to it. Don't do it until you can. The only one you can trust is your divinity, your own divine self. But you've got to know it's your divine self. I see too many people chatting with the bad side and go, ooh, I'm talking to God. I'm talking to my. No, you're not. And I can tell by the words they use that they're not. So you got to you don't have to. Again, I say this for people who are here who want to step into mastery of self, mastery of divinity, the POA, the power of authority given to you by the divine creator, the creation of all. So if you want to do that, then you must start checking in with self. Stop giving your power away to every Tom, Dick, and Harry, the three stooges, Mo, Larry, and Curly, who say, woo, take this vitamin, use this frequency, do this, do this, do this. Bullshit. You're giving your power of authority away to someone who doesn't even know your name, let alone your issues. Why? Why would you do that? Do you not love yourself that much? And if you don't love yourself that much, okay, but figure out why. What happened to you when you were a child that made you stop loving the divine being that you are? What beliefs did you take on that made you stop loving this most awesome divine being that you are? Do you know how the Christ light is on this plane? Do you have any clue how the Christ light is on this plane? The only way the Christ light is on this plane is through mankind. The Christ light is in you. And you want to know why it's getting so dark? Because everybody's shutting down their Christ light. Has nothing to do with God. Has to do with you. And when I speak about that God, I speak about the divine creator of all that is, the creation God, not the satanic. It has nothing to do with the total divine creator. It has everything to do with mankind. We are allowing our light to be shut off. Oh, but it's so demonic and dark and the darkness and evil. We are allowing it. And putting up your dukes to fight them is not going to be the answer. They run like the Dickens from light. Think of, what was that show? The Yellow Brick Road, The Wizard of Oz. Think of the Wizard of Oz, the Wicked Witch of the West, when they poured water on her. I'm melting, I'm melting. That's what your light does instantaneously to darkness. It makes it go bye-bye. It doesn't even have to melt. It just dissipates into the void of nothingness. It's gone. It doesn't exist when you're around. But you allowed yourself to shut that light off so much. There's very little Christ light left on this earth plane, the earth plane. So you got to light it up. You have nobody to blame for all this bad stuff but ourselves, mankind. It's time to light it up. So every time you go external for yourself, and I'm not saying don't. I'm just giving you another way of looking at things. If you need to go, absolutely go. And then look back and say, hey, why did I get this way? Why did I get so far that I needed to have external sources help me? That's mastery. So Michelle asked me about scalar waves, the issues with scalar waves. A scalar wave is not like a frequency. It is a frequency, but it's different. A scalar wave, a frequency, starts to dissipate over time. It's directly affected by length, frequency, modulate, everything. It's timeline. We'll just put a timeline, even though I don't like to say time, but I'll do it for this. It's directly in proportion to the time. So it starts to wither away. A scalar wave never dissipates. Are there scalar waves on this earth? Yes. Do scalar waves come from nature? Yes. Do those scalar waves harm mankind? No. So I have, I think, 3 big questions about scalar wave technology. 3 big questions. I don't know to date, could be wrong. I could absolutely be wrong on this. But what I know, and I worked in the field, I don't know any computer screens that could produce scalar waves. I could be wrong. Technology's changed. That would be one of my questions. My second question is, why do I need scalar wave technology? You're bombarding the earth with scalar wave technology. And the same scalar wave technology that's hitting me is hitting every other individual outside of me. And you're telling me we're all the same? Not true, Shelley. I can still get EMFs through scalar. That's not a true statement. And number 3, why do I need it? Why do I need it? Why would I bombard the earth with shit that never dissipates? That is made by man. And see, this is my question. This is my real question. Computers are digital. They're ones and zeros, bits. They're digital. How the freak are they producing any frequency? That's when all these people go, I'm going to go to YouTube and listen to this frequency coming in. It's the frequency of this. No, it's not. It's a digital frequency. It's ones and zeros. It's bit. It's machine language. What is machine language? Oh, machine language is part of a matrix. Okay, so Shelley puts this question out there. It uses the quantum field. I don't know, Shelley. Do you know it does? How do you know it does? Could you explain that to me, please? Because the quantum field is the Christ light in there. So if I'm going into the quantum field, why would I want a damn scalar wave? Why wouldn't I just use the Christ light? Just asking. No, it's not. It's not going to protect us from 5G. It's bullshit. Absolutely bullshit. See, this is what I'm saying. You're just believing things that are out there. Did you do your research? All right, Shelley, how does it protect us from 5G? Could you explain that? Oh, Robin was with me. Robin sat in this office when I researched the dickens out of this. And all I found was contradictions in their own words. Am I right? These are the reports written on it. When I do research, I write reports, real reports, written on scalar technology. Robin was here and she did it with me. See, Shelley, I'm not picking on Shelley, but I'm making a point. I don't pick on anybody because I love you all for this, but this is just to make a point. Shelley writes, my understanding is the blue shields create a field that won't allow the EMFs to penetrate. Okay, first of all, you say you're understanding. That means you're beneath it. That's number 1. Number 2, what blue shields? What in God's name makes you think scalar waves are blue? What blue shields? How are blue shields created? And what kind of field are they creating? Just asking. I'm not knocking anything. I'm just asking for questions. If you went and bought a car and you're going to spend $150,000 on a good sports car, aren't you going to ask questions? What does this button do? How do I get my seat to move back? Can I put it into stick shift mode and do hole shots? How do I change the oil? Well, I guess if you're paying $100,000 for a car, you have somebody else change the oil. But would you ask questions? Why is no one asking questions about things that affect your DNA? Just asking. I don't need to be right or wrong. I pray to God I was wrong about all of this. It would be so much easier, but it's not. Ask your questions. Most of the time, you're just wasting money. Some of the times, it's doing damaging things. Other times, it's going to set you up for something 3 years or 4 years from down the road. Rife machines are not scalar energy. Nope, not what's there. Now, there's a technology that has some aspect to it. So that's my explanation about scalar waves. I'll also show you here, just to give you an idea. This is what a scalar wave looks like. Huh. When I talk about sawtooths, I don't know anybody else who spoke about sawtooth before me. And this is a scalar wave, and here's the time zones, and here are the frequencies of everything. This is the anatomy of a scale wave. I can't give you all of this because this is a documentation that is not meant to be seen by everybody. This is the whole anatomy of scalar waves. Do they look like Vogel crystals? Ah, yeah. So don't give me this crap that people who have English degrees know scalar waves. This is my life. Scalar waves are indeed natural. They are indeed natural. Nature has scalar waves. They are absolutely natural, but not when people are doing what they're doing with them. And until somebody can sit and, what's the most interesting thing? We got a new technology. I ask, how does it work? Oh, it's proprietary. Only 2 people in the world know this technology, and I keep it quiet. And then listen to them talk. Listen to them speak. They're contradicting themselves at every corner. Ask Robin. Robin will tell you. I took people's documents on what they produce that speak about scalar waves and how they heal with scalar waves. And 1 minute they're saying one thing, and the next minute they're saying another thing, and they contradict each other. So, just saying. Enough of that. All waves can carry. All waves, all waves, all waves. Okay, that's good. Noriko brought up a very good point. Very good. And I'm just going to tell you this. But I don't know. I don't know of any computers that they have today that can produce, like laptops and shit, that can produce scalar waves. I think that's bullshit. But I don't know that for a fact. And then you take scale. Let me just put this out there. Close your eyes, take it to your heart, and see if it resonates with you. Everybody just close their eyes for 2 seconds. Take it to your heart, see if it resonates with you. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If it does, go, At the final moment, when a core reactor reaches a certain thing with scalar waves, you hit time travel. All right? So scalar waves are used for a lot of things. I'm looking for what Noriko said. All frequencies can have carrier frequencies on it. And scalar waves. All right, let me just put it this way. By their own words, their very own words, I have proof of their own words. I printed the documents. By their own words, they tell you that the scalar technology is programmed with information to alter your DNA. That's their words. See, Robin will tell you. Wouldn't you want to know what that programming is? They won't tell you. Every frequency can carry carrier frequencies, which are programs. Do you want that shit injected into your DNA? Jean, I will not openly knock somebody's work. But I will tell you those words were said by Robin. You want to post it? I don't want to. And the gentleman, I forgot his name. Their own words. There you go. So I'm just asking, if what they're saying is true, why would I want a program that you're not going to tell me what it does? And then in their own words and their own reports, people feel sick and are damaged by it. Oh, but they don't mention those. By their own words. Just saying. All right, I'm moving on. Jean writes, all right, one more question. And Jean is the one who assists us to know our power, passion, freedom stuff, so I will answer this one. One more question. Why do you think they are experts in this field? I don't know, Jean. Check their background. See if you find any degrees. I could tell you, show you my degrees. Just saying. And then I'm saying this also. I got a bunch of degrees. That 55 cents can't buy me a cup of coffee. Degrees mean nothing. Degrees are all about the matrix. I am outside of the matrix. Okay, no more. I want to get back to divinity. This is $1 million question. I want to get this one. It's at the end. There's so many good questions, but how do you know when you are talking to the divine and not the satanic? Very simple. The divine will never give you an outcome. Can't. It's based on mankind's intention. What the divine will tell you is, this is the energy you're calling to yourself. And if you keep on this path, this is what you possibly can create as an individual or as a society. But to sit there and say, on June 6th, this is going to happen, is all bullshit. The divine will never do that. And if you rob a bank, if Julie robs a bank and Julie's like, oh my God, I hope nobody finds out. I never want anybody to know. I can never find out. The divine will never cross dominion. So just saying. I can't get to the rest of them. There's way too many today. So let's do our meditation. The reason meditation is so important, meditation is how you connect to your divine self. And the more, it's like crawling. You're crawling to remember how to walk. You're starting over from scratch. Every time you embody, you're starting over from scratch. So meditation is so, so very important. Hi, I'm Leana from PowerPassionFreedom.com. If you liked what you heard, why don't you come and join us on Sundays? We do a whole free question and answer period followed by a meditation. Bring all your questions. All you have to do is go to PowerPassionFreedom.com to register for Sunday. Oh, and don't forget to like us and subscribe to us below, because we're always adding new meditations and content and you don't want to miss out on it. I'll see you Sunday.